Good morning. Welcome to Frank's School. I'm in the 5th year now, 27th day, first video. Usually I already have stuff on the board, but I'm going to take a chance and see if I can just show you as I talk. I'm going on with pallet fences. And the next video, I'll probably make it a second video for today, or else 28th day, I'm not sure. I think I've got the pallet fence thing figured out. As in the archive, if you look at 5th year 6th day first video and the 5th year 13th day first video, you can see where I'm still trying to learn and working with pallets and stuff. But I think I've got it now. The first time I ever built a pallet fence, I did it this way: pallet, 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 pallet. And I already had learned some things, like you wanted to make sure the pallets were all turned. You wanted to make sure you had all the same size pallets if you wanted to look good. And you wanted to make sure that the pallets were all turned the same way and facing a consistent way. Now the fence that I built like that, I guess I'll call it a zigzag fence. It's been there for, I don't know, I think 2 years. And it's fine, no posts. All I did was wire it together, top and I think bottom. I planted in here, and I actually put tires in there at first. Now I haven't done anything more with the gardening yet, but I will. Anyway, that was fine. But then I also built a pallet fence that way that was solid boarded, almost solid. Very thin spaces between them, and high. To try to hold goats in, or even chickens. The problem with that was the wind blew it over time and time again, and I'd put it up. So I finally went, and it finally did well. Let me go. Yes, I'll show you that. So that time I was going, yeah, I did it like that, but well, just let me leave that. Another thing that I tried was this system, trying to keep the goats in. I think I called that Greek pattern system because it's a Greek pattern it reminds me of. Again, no posts, and it was kind of all right. The goats eventually, they learned to jump up on there and walk along and go over, no problem for them. But you can see that, I think, in this video. I took it down. I didn't think that was as good a system. Well, then what I did was I began to build pallets like this, and I put shorter pallets like that as the pilasters. I'm going to call them pilasters because I don't know any other word for it. And these I used as shelves to lay stuff on, and I even laid stuff the whole way across to weight it down. So these were those dense pallets, and it has worked. Now in this video you'll see that Andy and I put a few pallets this way as we were building it, just to try to make sure because of the wind. And there's more to be said about that. The wind taught me something with that. I think I can use the fact that the wind does that, but I'll show you about that later. But anyway, this system is what I now use, in the next video you'll see me using it extensively. Although part of this system, I'm not sure at what point I realized I should do that, is to put in effect rails from pallet to pallet inside there. I was using 1x3, 1x3, 1x4 really long oak boards that were practically given to me at the sawmill because he didn't want them. And so I began to string the pallets onto the boards like stringing beads on a string. Like the pallets were all sort of strung together. Like here's the board, and I'd slip the next pallet on there, and then I'd run boards through. That's the system that I think now I will use. And in the video that I make next, you'll see this being done with some big pallets, and you'll also see it being done with some smaller pallets. And there another, I guess one other thing to tell you about this is, then there's the decision. Oh, these aren't necessary. Then there's the decision of, well, which. Oh, no, I need to explain this. What I do now is there's the pallet fence, but instead of doing it like that, I make these pallets this way. Then I've got a triangle. And the most recent fence that I'm working on, or one of them, is on a slope. This is a contour line, so you know there's no need for this to be straight. That doesn't have to be straight. It can go like that. But since it's on a slope, what I've been doing is I've been putting a block of wood underneath there, according to how much I have to raise it, so that it will be level. Then once again, I have this available for shelves, for laying stuff, storing stuff, and also the distance in between. And I settled on 5 foot as that dimension. It was a little bit, what's the word? I can't think of what the word is. It didn't have to be 5, could have been 4, 6 maybe. But with 5, I could fit a second one in there if I decided to, if I had lots of pallets. In that space I could, or if I needed one. Now I wire it here, I wire it there, I wire it there. Anyway, that's the way I'm building it now. And then finally I wanted to say that you've got the decision to make of which side is going to be flush, smooth, and which side are you going to put the more densely boarded side of the pallet. Now I should also point out, of course, that I've got rails going through there. That they make all the difference. Those rails. Without them, wiring just that was kind of a discovery. And I did it in such a way. Here it's kind of easy because you only have to put one block in to bring it up to level. But if you're coming down a hill, down the fall line, well, if you're coming, let's say the fall line's going down there, and here go the pallets. Well, then you've got to put a block here, and not as big a block there. That can be touching the ground as you go down. So, which side to make smooth? In general, I've put it on the side where I'm wanting to keep animals, but not always. But in goats, jumping animals, well, they jump up on that and then they'll jump over. So in the case of goats, I would put this on the goat side. If I use it to fence in hogs, I don't think it's going to matter, and so the hogs could be here. And then I noticed, well, I intellectually I knew it anyway, but boy, I noticed it right away that in the case of this fence, the sunny side is dramatically different from the shadowy side. This will be much colder than this. Well, I'll show you more when I go out, but I thought some of this stuff I would do better to actually try to draw it. Well, we'll be going outside next, I think. Bye for now.